the floor crashed, you held on to me with paper hands. And I won't ask for you to come back to me when the bull begins. They try to tell you living too fast can make you lose it all. In a little white dress, she's headed back to Mars. And I guess I should've known I wouldn't get that far, far. And you got a lot left to heal. And I'm not something that you should fix. You feel like you're one in a million. And I'm more like a derivative. She ran for the hills, and once I was broke, she broke me again. Oh, and now I'm there inside. Girl, I won't lie, she broke me again.
Alrighty. Welcome back to NFT Live. We are covering the NFT industry. We are covering the bear market. We are covering the impending bull market that one day we'll get again. It's nice to see everybody in the house. I've got Gift Dead. I've got Ronan the CC. I've got DJ Savage with me. And I have all you wonderful folks that just joined us as we just pressed live. Shout out to July on that song real quick. We need to get him to make us an actual like NFT Live intro. That'd be dope. But Gift, how are you doing today, my man? Let's go around the circle.
I am so good because you know what? There's nowhere I'd rather be than hanging out with my favorite people in the LADZ of LADZ City during a shitty bear market and in the trenches with y'all, talking about all the things, talking about, you know, putting together our own survival guide, right? Like this is it. Like we're gonna figure out how to survive together. So I'm great, man.
Good times here, man. It's you know, I think everybody's trying to just cope with the market and kind of get through their days, but I am looking forward to NFT NYC next week, and looking forward to a really good conversation about kind of like the goings on in the space. You know, there's a lot to talk about, man. Some big news just dropping, and so yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
What up, Savage?
We're chilling on the ETH and crypto roller coaster. I mean, I don't think it's any of our first time up here on the panels, like, you know, this trip on this up and down market. So I don't know. I'm not stressing, chilling, hanging out, vibing with my friends in LADZ City on NFT Live. Let's go.
Yeah, so guys, this is the deal. We got some breaking news from some projects here that we're going to touch on right off the bat. But we've got NFT NYC. We've got some bear market talk. I have STEPN on the like dashboard here. Like if you guys have checked this out, this like move to earn project that looks really dope. I think we're going to cover a little bit of it. Gala Games just got listed on Epic Games Store. So we'll touch on some of that stuff, but there's a lot more to get to, man. Gif, you were just talking about that survival guide, man, and I want to get everybody's take here. What are you doing right now to survive? It's red markets. We had a big downturn that we'll kind of cover here in the first story, but what's everyone doing to survive this bloody week that we've had?
I'm buying fewer NFTs. I'm not buying no NFTs, but I'm definitely buying fewer at the moment and watching and waiting and trying to, you know, hold on to whatever liquidity that I can. Definitely starting to like feel like, okay, if things stay rough, you know, for the next couple months, you know, what companies or part-time jobs am I going to pick up to, you know, get me through and just get some revenue coming in? Because obviously flipping isn't easy right now, and I'm normally like a swing trader, so there's like no good swings right now. So yeah, man, it's just like being patient, understanding that like there will be a bottom, there will be a turnaround, but we don't know where that is yet, right? So just watching, you know, the fear and greed index, watching different sort of like technical analyses, but also paying very close attention to the sentiment in the market. I think that that's really, really huge. I'm definitely sort of like a sentiment gut, you know, investor a lot of the times, which, you know, can be good or bad, but just continuing to stay in tune, continuing to learn, continuing to build, and networking, right? Like networking right now is one of the best things you can be doing, because the people that are in the space that are still building, those are real people, right? And so there's going to be future leaders forged out of all of this, the red.
I love it, man. Ronan, what are you doing to survive, brother?
I'm not looking at the charts. I'm just like keeping in my lane, dude. I'm trying to do the same thing Giff is doing. I'm networking, thankfully I got a day job and it's still like in the space, but like I don't have to worry about, the swings and the floors and all that stuff. Like I get to kind of play on a different world when it comes to NFTs. So for me, yeah, man, I'm not playing in the same place. I'm doing everything I can to avoid putting myself in a negative headspace by doing stuff like, obsessing over charts or chasing ups and downs and things like that.
All right, I want you to go ahead, Savage. Finish up.
I was saying spending a little bit more time with your friends and family and the people that are building, in this space, like Giff and Ronan. It's like that's what I'm doing. You got to keep a positive mental headspace, and like buying a little bit less NFTs, reading more white papers, buying into some cryptos that you're down on some of your bags. That's kind of what we're doing.
Hell yeah, man. I want to have Ronan do the CTA real quick before we head off on this great discussion together where we're kind of commiserating in this bear. But hit that CTA, Ronan, and then we'll move on into this first. Actually, we got a big one a link that you dropped. So right after that CTA, we'll play this like announcement that just happened.
Yeah, shout out to everybody who's hanging out in chat. We appreciate you. And if you're enjoying the content, please make sure you're hitting the like button. It helps a ton. Subscribe goes even further. Make sure that you are tuned into everything that's happening on the LADZ network. There's shows every day of the week, just about. Lots of great content, lots of great content creators. And it's every week. So keep up to date with everything going on. And then furthermore, if you guys don't mind copying the link and sharing it to somebody who you think can appreciate the content that we're producing today, right? That would be excellent. We've got great conversation going on. Going to talk about, the bear market. We're going to talk a little bit about Step-to-Earn, all these to earn concepts, which I've got some stuff to say. Gala Games is on Epic Store. And then the news that Q's talking about, which is the GoblinTown. We're going to talk about goblins a little bit today. And you guys know I have feelings about that. And yeah, so the Goblin team has doxed themselves. And so here we are in another interesting place.
Let's just play it. All right, so this is like a full book of information. It goes on for a full 3 minutes. But give me the TLDR real quick, Ronan, as you kind of watch.
So I watched right. So TLDR, they're the team that launched other projects. I think one was like 187 or something, and then the other one was the Illuminati NFT, which was another project that they did. Long story short, they basically come out and say, hey, we've done this, and these are the projects that we've launched. I'm not familiar with either of them. I think Illuminati and NFT, I did see some stuff about before. It's a very small community from what I understand. But essentially the reason for doxing is they say that it's because that, they're going to essentially be launching merchandise, after NFT NYC. As far as like their activation at NFT NYC, they're gonna have the GoblinTown truck or whatever it is. There's gonna be a physical one, and it's gonna be riding around, and it'll be showing up at different events. They'll also be at Fuoshis's paint party, which is always a good time if you get to go. You can see here, this is the team, and they give you like all their Twitter, so you can go and check out who they are and what they're about. I personally am not familiar with any of them, but that's not to say anything outside of like I just haven't had the opportunity. So I will say that the first thing I thought was like, okay, this is cool. Like, and they're obviously building inroads. They're like creating like, a little network. Some people took from it, the vibe was like, hey, like we're moving on, like, and this is something that we built and there is no roadmap, and we'll see where like the community takes us. But the way I saw it was like, hey, we're doxing ourselves so you guys feel a little more comfortable that we're going to continue down the road of what we're doing with this project. And while they're going to continue the narrative of no roadmap, I imagine that they'll continue to activate. I mean, if they were abandoning, like I would think like there's no reason for a food truck, there's no reason for a present at the Fuo paint party, and there's no reason to kind of say, hey, we're going to continue to do stuff afterwards. But you know, who knows? We'll all see. And I just think it's interesting to see like the evolution of this, right? Like I said, you know, last week was a different feeling from a couple weeks earlier. You know, the appreciation of the marketing, right? But still the you know, the real issue of there's not a docs team, and without that, like I personally can't jump in. So now I'm looking at Goblins and seeing like what do they do the next like couple of weeks, and is it really like gonna facilitate? Because I think that they really did at least bring a lot of positivity, right? Like they gave a lot of people like really found their tribe, right? Like this is such an important part of what we're doing here. It's like finding the people who like you vibe with, right? So a lot of people were able to do that through their community, and I think that that's you know, important. So yeah, it's cool. It's an interesting you know, thing to happen today, and hey, let's see what happens.
Did anybody think they were ever gonna go not anonymous?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if I can say all the things that I've heard and talked to people about from consensus about this project, but as we sort of previously alluded and thought might be the case, I'm more certain than ever that this has been a highly coordinated effort with some big agencies and people behind it. So whether or not like that's the main sort of creative team, I think that there's a lot more people behind this project than is still being said, and it's simultaneously like great, and I applaud it, and I'm happy that they're coming out, and also still very frustrating because I still like there's still not a lot of transparency around it in my opinion, and also it kind of still perpetuates the standard of like, hey, we're just going to go out and launch a project as anons, and then maybe later at some date if we want to, like, we'll dox ourselves. And it's like, I get it, like that's a model, and you know what, if it works, it's good. I just personally don't love that model because again, it's just not a lot of transparency. And so yes, I'm like simultaneously like, great, that's good, I'm happy that they dox themselves, and still like, I don't know that you're actually creating a great standard.
Yeah, so the other piece of news we have here comes from GIF himself. He dropped me the link. They just got this little announcement trailer. Something is brewing here for NFT NYC. I also see everybody in the chat. Thank you for showing up early. I'm going to play this trailer. We're going to talk a little bit of WitchyGF here, some Nifty Castle stuff, and then we'll get into some bear market stuff. But we see you in the chat. Definitely keep it going. Let's play this trailer, GIF, and then you tell me what's going on. All right, what's going on here, man?
Yeah, this is an interactive game that Woboy has been working on with some of his escape room fabricator, developer friends. And it's, we've been working on a bunch of cool activations and things for NFT NYC that we're going to be doing at the Web3 Lounge. Very, very excited for all the things. But this is something that, we just kind of shared this out. First time that we're teasing it out and showing anybody, but it's basically these 3 different obelisks that work together, and you can collaborate with friends to, cast spells using the 28 different magic types in the lore and in the WitchyGF project to basically play this puzzle game and, win different things. So that's going to be an installation, an interactive installation at NFT NYC. Yeah, and it's pretty cool, man. Yeah, so they're gonna be like, placed around, and people will be able to. It's all like custom made, right? So it's a pretty impressive thing. But yeah, so you're gonna be able to cast the different spells using the different buttons and basically solve the puzzles. And yeah, there'll be a bunch of fun giveaways and other cool stuff too. But yeah, man, it's just cool to be sharing out something, you know, that we're obviously working on.
Yeah, and Prodigy just hit the chat here and said a gift from GiftEd. This is a code for 25 VIP tickets to Web3 Lounge at NFT NYC. The code there is in the chat, so I appreciate you doing that as well, GIF.
Yeah, so there's the free passes and then there's VIP passes. VIP passes will get you priority access to the Web3 Lounge and, you know, some additional goodies from all the sponsors, maybe some airdrops, maybe some swag. We're putting all that together. So yeah, there's a code just dropped in the chat that'll work for 25 VIP tickets. So for anybody that is going to NFT NYC, or if you know anybody going to NFT NYC, make sure to snag that code and get your VIP tickets to the Web3 Lounge before somebody else does.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, the last piece that we're going to get to, I know we're like making our way slowly to talking about what is on everyone's minds essentially, is going to be this NFT NYC piece. Gift just said that they're doing the Web3 Lounge. It's going to be fucking awesome. They got a lot of really cool like micro events like planned as well. Ronan, Savage, tell me what your thoughts are here on NFT NYC. I know, Ronan, you were just with Gabe from Electro Labs talking about some NYC stuff, but just give me your thoughts here. Is it going to be like a big pity party here? Is everyone going to feel bad, or are we going to like completely just try to like pretend nothing is happening? What's the deal here?
Everybody's going to pretend nothing's happening. Like, ignorance is bliss. And I think like for a little while it's healthy to like get out of the mindset and the obsession of like the dollars and the money and like, you know, whether you're making money or losing money, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, hey, if you're not cashing out, what's it matter? So for the time that you're there, I would encourage everyone, honestly, like, I'll probably even uninstall MetaMask, man. Like, I honestly, like, just like, I'll keep POAP installed. So that's something I can do while I'm there. But like, I think like, I'm just not going to really engage. I'm going to be more about like my opportunities to like meet with people, network with people. You know, we've got some stuff lined up for the week, you know, and over at GiftEd's, you know, the GM Web3 Lounge, and you know, I'll be speaking at the event. So lots of stuff that's just more like the build side than like the, you know, money. So I think people will just be in their own little happy world, man, and people will be networking and enjoying their time together.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to do exactly that, Judd. Just network away, because that's where you're going to find a lot of people that are really committed in this space. And we're not selling. I know I'm not. Maybe you guys are. I'm not. So if you're not selling, like Ronan said, it doesn't matter. So this is an investment. It's not a gamble. I mean, it kind of is a gamble, but you know, investment means you're holding for at least a year plus 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, my ETH bags have taken a big hit, but no worries from me. I mean, we're not selling till it hits 10K at least. Let's go.
Hey, love it. Love it. Give me that juice, Savage. GIF, what are your thoughts? I know you said Web3 Lounge is happening, of course, but what are your thoughts like NFT NYC overall? You going to be having yourself a good time?
Yeah, well, so I was just in Austin doing Consensus, and that's a much more tech-heavy conference. You know, a lot of VCs, tech, you know, blockchain, crypto focused. There was only a handful of NFT projects that I saw there the whole time. The energy there was extremely positive, upbeat. Almost nobody was talking about NFTs. Some people were talking about the market, but generally everybody was like the sentiment there is really high. People are building. Everybody's building. It's kind of a meme, like, and so I do expect a lot of that, like kind of the same thing at NFT NYC. People just going there, enjoying, getting the most out of it, networking. I would actually go a step further and like use it as a filter to like see who are the people that are moping around talking about NFTs being crap and like all that shit. Those are going to be the people that I'm going to stay away from and be like, you know what? I'm not here for that. So I would even go as far as to say that that's going to be a great filter for me. Anybody that's going to be sulking and crying in a corner or talking about how shitty everything is all the time, those are people that I probably don't want to invest my time and energy in. And then, yeah, as far as like I'm a speaker at NFT NYC, but like the way that that's going right now with like 1,500 speakers and just it being so disorganized, I may not even speak. I don't know. I haven't even decided yet if I'm even going to do my spot. So I'm going to be very much focused on everything we're doing, everything the homies are doing, all the satellite events and all the cool stuff happening around it.
Yo, I was listening to Music Mondays last night. We do a Twitter Spaces on the NFT Live Network. The Music Mondays crew is awesome. Natalie Crew, Jared T, and Louis C. Rhymes. Louis is scheduled to talk to, and he was saying yesterday, up until yesterday, he still didn't have a speaker like schedule at all. So none of you two have a speaker schedule.
They came in today, this morning, or yesterday afternoon. I had it today. I know I had it this morning. So like, I know what time I'm speaking at and stuff, but like, that's kind of the way they did it last year. I think that like, and this was a really good conversation that we had when we were having the Bitlectro Twitter Spaces, which was like, what would we like to see change? And like, that's definitely one of them. Like, I think too many speakers. I think you have to give like, there's not a lot of value when someone speaks for 10 minutes, like very service level, right? Like about any topic. There's not much value in putting together a 5-person panel and then giving them 25 minutes to talk. Like, the response to one question is anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes on a panel. And so that means you get to ask one question and everybody gets to speak once in a 25-minute, point. So I'm not sure who like does like the I don't know what you call it, like the the logistics of that, but like for me who I come from the logistics world, it's like maddening, dude, to think that like they're trying to like do all that type of stuff. So I was hoping that this year like they would give the panels a little more breadth, right? Like give them 40-45 minutes, if not an hour. And then, the speakers, they would have like, a little longer, 20, 30 minutes of being able to present their topics. But it doesn't look like that's the case. And to Gif's point, like there's not a lot of value in that. So, I made a commitment, I'll be there. And then outside of that, like I'll probably be hitting a lot of like these side like things, because like that's where I'll probably find the most value. And I think a lot of people will, at least that are in the space, right? Like if you're watching this, like then you'll probably be hitting the side events. Like if you went and bought a ticket to the event and you're one of those 15,000 people that's going to be attending for whatever reason, then you probably have like education that needs to happen, right? And maybe you at least it places a seed that maybe interests you in a topic. But it'll be interesting. I think that we got a lot of compliments on our panel last year because our panel was supposed to be 25 minutes, but it went for almost, I think it was like 55 because the guest speaker after us was stuck in traffic, right? So like they kept pushing it and giving us more and more time. We actually ended up doing a Q&A, and somebody like the next night was like, hey, I actually attended your thing, and it was one of the first panels that I got to see, and I was like really hyped because it was long, and we got to ask questions and we got a lot of value, and then everything after that was like 25 minutes, and I didn't really understand. I was like, we only got that much time because Quentin Tarantino got stuck in traffic. And then so like they didn't know what the hell to do, so they kept giving us time to fill it. But so I think that like we do need to see a lot of like really just like, I don't know, some more effort put into these damn things, right? Because people are going for that, and it's sad when you see that there's other events like GM Web3 that are putting together like really lengthy conversations that are going to provide a lot of value in these smaller venues, and they're going for 2, 3, 4 days, and that's one of a handful of them that are doing the same thing. So it's cool that all these events are popping up, but it makes for a really hard time to like get to everything and stuff, and you wish that just the main event was better organized.
Any last thoughts on NFT NYC, fellas?
We're gonna make it.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with everything Ronan said, because as a speaker, it's like it's not set up to really incentivize me, because if I have 5 to 10 minutes, it's and I have to submit like the slideshow and go show up and wait in line to get all my things, and like there's just too many other things for me to be doing with my time. Honestly, they're not paying for me to be there in the first place, or travel or anything. It's just, yeah.
To me, it seems like the only reason they would have that many, they would have that many people kind of scheduled to speak is they're using that as a net to bring in people to the conference. Like they're trying to bring those people and their communities to the conference. Why else would you have 1,200 speakers? It just doesn't make any sense. So I agree with you guys completely. I'm going to hit the chat real quick, and guys, don't be afraid to check out that chat in kind of throw out anything that you see as well. Marty McFly's here, Prodigy, Phasia, XPlow, Hash Rhymes. I mean, we can go down the list here. Alien River,
Stash, what up?
Oh, Stash is in the house. Love to see it, man. A lot of our Vibe, our tribes. If you are here for the first time, that is the saying of our network here, of our community, our Vibe, our tribe. We're getting through this as a tribe together. And what do I mean by getting through this? Well, we have the big story. We're going to open up the discussion. This is going to be an open floor, fellas, so go ahead and take it away. But basically what we have here is an absolute shitter of a market. For the last 2 to 3 years, and this is an aptly chosen Moonbird here, as he has his hair on fire. NFT prices suck right now. Crypto prices suck right now. And, for all intents and purposes, we've been calling it a bear market for the last 2 weeks, but really, really a lot of pain in the last 3 or 4 days. I mean, we on some of these, we are down almost 30% overnight, and this doesn't stop at these crypto tokens. It bled into the NFT market. There's a lot of things to be talking about here, one of which, and if you check in the description, this is a fantastic thread on the Celsius lending situation that isn't the main reason. There's a lot of macro environment things that are going on. We're having the continued war with Russia. We're having the inflation rise. We do have a Fed meeting here at the end of the week, and people are anxiously awaiting everything that's going on with that. But if you want to check out this thread, we'll talk about here in a second. Celsius essentially over-leveraged itself like a lot of these other companies. Three Arrows Capital, there was a rumor here that they're going insolvent. Coinbase is letting 20% of their workforce go. And so all of this stuff is kind of telling you that a lot of these people are either, one, over-leveraged and completely about to get blown up, or they're preparing for an impending recession, like Coinbase letting go 20% of its employees. Now, the Celsius thing is something we'll get into as this discussion unfolds. But guys, I just want to open this up. How the title of the episode is Why NFTs Aren't Dead. And I want to get your take on why NFTs are not going to stop. We know that everything's kind of down. The floor prices are absolutely tanked. But right now, what do you tell someone that is looking at this space and saying it's not going to come back for a long time? Maybe some floor prices are never going to recover. What is the thing that you would tell someone about why NFTs aren't dead, or maybe they are? We're on NFT Live. I'm guessing your answer isn't are. So just give me your take on the current space, and then we'll kind of move through this.
Yeah, no, I think that what we're seeing is, was it last week or the week before we talked about like what is the future of NFTs and how like we're going to see like more adoption and where we see the space going and the technology being used moving forward. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that, and it's going to happen a lot faster. And I think we're going to see a lot more adoption of lower cost, easier barrier of entry like NFTs. And this is where I think we do see a little bit of the decoupling of this concept that like NFTs are only going to be investments, right? Like they're only going to be this investment vehicle that you're buying and then is going to eventually make you some money. And I think now we're going to see use cases more towards traditional marketing, and kind of more innovative ways outside of what we've seen currently. So, it's going to be interesting. I think that it's going to be, I don't know if we see like, Bored Ape hit the same place it was pre this, I don't know if our PFP project's dead. No, but like, you're probably not going to see very many of them, do, any kind of volume, except for the ones that actually, gain traction. So it's going to be interesting to see how like our side of the field, plays and how like everyone who's kind of like in the NFT space as we currently know it, adjust for like what comes next. Right. Like, because I do think like the next iteration, right, like just like in the web is like next comes like the big brands and the big money and how they're going to approach it and how they're going to utilize and leverage the technology and how are they going to capitalize on the opportunity. So
I think I'm a little bit more careful on what projects we're buying into. Just because it's pumping and it's free doesn't mean that's the one to ape into. When the market's pumping up, there's some easy gains, and you can flip those. But when the market's trending down, you have to trust all of your fellow holders not to dump your bags. And if there's no reason for them not to dump their bags, you might be in a lot of trouble. So I'm reading a lot of more white papers. I'm diving into stuff that, you know, I can focus on and control, like, you know, different security, making sure my discords are safe, you know, stuff like that, stuff that, you know, it's going to put a smile on your face and, you know, make you happy. And if you're taking care of the people around you, they're going to remember that. So, you know, we're going to make it as a team. Keep that mindset, everybody.
Heck yeah. I mean, I echo all of this, right? There's been way too much fluff and way too much garbage that people have been buying into for no reason, that has no inherent value. So to me, it just comes back to the basics of like what value can actually be collateralized on a project. Real art, real artists, that's a real value. If like, so it's like, are NFTs dead? No, it's a technology that can underwrite a digital asset that has some kind of value, and then the market will determine the value. There's been a bunch of junk and crappy art that has nothing, no real collateralized value behind it, that's been flying just because it's been flying. But then as soon as the music stops, it all dumps because, again, there's no real value there. It's just hype. So art and artists, that's a real value. Access tokens, a real community, a real team, you know, a big brand, all of these different things, you know, tickets, all these things, experiences. These are all values that can be collateralized, right? That create value in the tokens that, you know, are associated with those values. So it's like, it's not dead. This is just an evolution in the market. So it's like a lot of that fluff, to DJ Savage's point, is just, it's going to be gone, because it's just like the easy button's gone. People are not going to be as frivolous dumping their hard-earned ETH and money into whatever's pumping just because somebody told them to. I've done that way too many times myself. And yeah, now it's like, okay, what do I really value? That's what I'm going to be buying.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up the CoinGecko chart here and kind of give you a look at the top, 1 through 20. ETH got absolutely hammered. Some of that has to do with this micro event, with Celsius, with Three Arrows Capital. These companies that are going insolvent are holding a lot of ETH, and they're trying to, in Celsius's case, cover a position by selling ETH. So there's a lot of like micro events here. Go ahead.
Well, and I was going to say, like, this is the, to me, the craziest opportunity ever. And look, not financial advice. We don't know where the bottom's going to be. Maybe it drops down to 700 from here. But if you can buy in and hold on for a couple of years, this is an amazing opportunity, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but nothing about the technology of Ethereum has changed except for very, very bullish signals towards the successful launch of ETH2. The ROPS10 upgrade to the ROPS10, you know, testnet or whatever, just successfully went, which is another phase in the ETH2 merge. So there's nothing creating this current like downturn except for the current condition of the market. It's not like something changed with the technology. A Bitcoin is still a Bitcoin, and Ethereum is still an Ethereum. And so I wish I had a fund and a bunch of liquidity right now, because I'd be dollar cost averaging in for sure.
So here's a situation to watch for, because the real question here is, for a lot of people, is when are we going to bottom, right? We pulled up the chart, the Ethereum chart, topped out at 4,800 thereabouts, and now we're at about 1,100. There were some really, really fearful moments here that we were going to drop into that 3-digit category. Again, fearful is going to be subjective. If you want to zoom out and go to a 2-year time frame, I'm sure you'll be fine. But for those people who, you know, did not take profits in this last cycle, I'm sure they were looking at it and saying, oh, you know, my net worth is like completely evaporating in front of my eyes. But there's all of these different, you know, factors that are going to play into when we bottomed out. So I'll open up that question here. Do you think that we're going to continue going lower? Do you think that this maybe is the support level? You know, some of the things that I'll mention here is that Celsius does have a liquidation situation here at 16,000 Bitcoin. A lot of people are looking at that. I think it's like between 16.5 and 16.8. So essentially, again, just a TLDR here, guys, is Celsius over leveraged themselves with users' funds. they didn't have enough money to actually pay the loans back and therefore are going to go insolvent. So if you had money with Celsius lending, you may not get that money back, especially if Bitcoin hits a price point of 16.5 or 16.8. So a lot of people are watching Celsius itself to see what's going to happen. There's also that Federal Reserve meeting to see if they're going to raise interest rates. I think there's a consensus there that they are going to continue raising interest rates here to battle inflation. So those are like one micro event and then another macro event that's happening outside of crypto. But I'll open that question up to the chat, to you guys, and just an open discussion. Have we bottomed out? Is this going to be the point where we can start to maybe stabilize a little bit?
I think there's too much fear in the market right now. Everyone's kind of wondering what Celsius is going to do. Everyone's wondering what MicroStrategy is going to do. And so for those reasons, I don't think we've bottomed out yet. And which, like Q said, you zoom out to 2 years. ETH 2 years ago was like $150. I mean, we're still doing fine. Like, this up and down market is part of the crypto ride. So if you want to make these massive gains, you have to be willing to take some big hits to your wallet. And like you said, maybe we should get a little bit better at taking some profits. I know that's the kind of the takeaway I took from here. If you hit big on one of these little projects, cash out on that one, write all the rest of them, and sit on that. Stake some ETH, do something like that. Something that you you can't capitulate when it's all staked up, but stake it yourself. Don't stake it in like Celsius or something. I don't play around with leverage, so I don't play around with projects that play around with leverage. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, I agree with Savage, man. You don't want your money managers to be degens too. Let's just say that.
Amen to that shit.
This is all super new for me, right? So it's all been like really interesting to just watch like all of these things take place. When the whole USDT thing happened, I was given a podcast, Bankless, to listen to about like how it took place, what caused it, like how they think or why they think it was like a coordinated effort, which has just like taught me a lot about economics. It's taught me a lot about money. It's taught me a lot about the current state of the world. So I've learned a lot through this whole experience. And I like, for me, like, this is one of those situations where, to Gift's point, like, the use case and everything is continuing to move forward, and it's continued to grow, and it's continued to gain more and more adoption. The only reason that like price is down is because the entire global market is down, which, again, do your own research and make your own decisions as far as like, your finances are concerned. But for me, like, I moved some liquidity out, a few months ago, and I'm seriously considering moving some right back in, because I really am bullish on the technology, and I really think that this stuff is going to continue to push forward. And you can see that like nothing has changed as far as that's concerned. Like there's still money coming into the space. VCs are still putting, investing, and if you look at it, like traditional markets and entities are still buying Bitcoin, right? So nothing's really changing other than the fact that the global market is currently down, and we're dealing with that. And once that clears, and once going beyond that, what do you think happens, right? Like, so.
Yeah, Digits is saying, have y'all seen El Salvador doubling down on Bitcoin? So it looks like,
yep,
if they're not, are they buying more? Was that the story?
They put in like, I think they put in something like another 19 or 13 or 19 Bitcoin. That they're trying to purchase. Like, I think like it's you're gonna see it at some point. Like, I'm learning all this shit, so forgive me if I use the wrong terms, but I think that we'll hit capitulation at some point soon, and like that will happen. And then when that does, like, that's when like Fed money comes right back in, and Bitcoin goes right from hitting a 75% decrease to hitting a fucking 40% new all-time high. And like, I'm learning how these freaking things work. I've got a buddy who like has been playing in this space for a while, and he's made a lot of money. And I'm like, dude, can you I asked him, cause no shit, no lie, in February, he was like, yo, I keep telling people Ethereum's going to hit 1200. Nobody wants to believe me. And I'm like, 1,200 is kind of low, bro. We're at like $3,000. Like, he's like, I'm telling you, man. And then when it started to look like it, I called him last week and I was like, all right, so explain to me why. Like, why did you say that? Why are you literally like in my DMs telling me like this is what we're gonna look at? And why do you believe it? And so he explained some things, and he explained how, like, you know, after you get that all-time high, is like historically you see anywhere between a 60 to a 75% like pullback, but then after that you see a boom in growth. So like I'm learning these things right as I go. And again, to everybody watching, I hope like you know you take the opportunity to educate yourself on these things. And yeah, man, and hopefully continue to like change my life. This has already changed my life tremendously, right? Like put me in a totally different place financially. So if I can continue to learn and continue to do that for myself and for my family, I think it's a great thing. And I think everybody has the opportunity to do that right now. So
yeah, Giff and Savage, we're going to stay in this combo, so chime in whenever you guys feel free. I'm going to touch on a couple comments. Xquas saying a question has been pondered. If crypto case was supposed to be a hedge against inflation, then why, when inflation is at a 40-year high, is it down so much? Which is a cool discussion to have. I brought up the NFT floor price chart there. Was this decoupling is probably the term that most people use when they talk about this stuff, of crypto and then NFTs into their own asset class that that lives outside of the actual stock market and things that are happening in the world. And just getting cut and dry with it, this situation in these past couple months have shown us very, very clearly that it is not decoupled whatsoever. It actually is more volatile. And those are things we probably should have known if we weren't drinking the Kool-Aid, right? We're pretty much in a very big echo chamber of NFTs to say, hey, there's no way that, ETH would go. So, one thing I'm thinking about is, okay, ETH could go down to 1,200, but at that same time, the Bored Ape price floor wouldn't fall as much because it's actually going down in USD when ETH goes down. So what we actually had end up happening was ETH was going down and the Bored Ape price floor was going down, which I think is an interesting discussion because you think maybe NFTs might be a little bit outside the realm of crypto in a sense. So there's a larger discussion, but I'll open up the floor and open it up to chat here too. Why we think the NFT floors fell as much as they did, because they clearly, up to like 50 to 60% in some even further over the past month.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that 1 ETH equals 1 ETH. So a lot of these people that are, big NFT buyers, holders, whatever, it doesn't really matter what the price of ETH is at that moment because they got in a long time ago. And so they're not looking at the USD value. They're looking at it as, I spent 5 ETH to get into this. If I get 5 ETH back out, we're doing good because they're holding. So if you're just basing your ETH evaluation off what it's doing in the market right now, that's not how a lot of the other people in the space are doing it. So if you have fear that everything's going to go to zero or everything's going to go down, you probably just want to sit on some ETH. So you might sell off some of your NFTs to stack up your ETH in your wallet, which, I've just been working harder to stack up some ETH in my wallet. I'm not capitulating on my projects because, do your own research, read the white papers, know what you're getting yourself into.
This is such a shitty chart. Oh my God. Go ahead.
Well, this is the risk of bringing on institutional investors over the last couple of years. And I don't think the market is big enough, mature enough, or distributed and decentralized enough yet to fully decouple from the traditional like TradFi and all the traditional financial vehicles. Like so much of the money that poured into crypto was coming from leverage in the traditional finance space, right? Eventually, when there's a large enough user base and there's not like just a few of these, larger companies or funds that are controlling so much of the market, like because you see right now with Celsius, you saw it with Terra Luna, and whenever something with Bitcoin, like these things have an oversized, outweighted impact on the overall market. And that to me is a symptom of the fact that it's not as big or distributed, as decentralized as it should be, or eventually will be. Over the last couple of years, we've had a bunch of big institutional investors come in, and they don't necessarily believe in crypto like we believe in crypto. They look at it as a high risk exotic asset. And so when they're de-risking their portfolios, that's how they're classifying it. De-risking just means, yeah, let's get rid of all the high risk stuff. And so if they're not actual believers in crypto and understand it to be what it is and to be its own network of value, a hedge against, inflation, against, other monetary systems or what have you, then it's not going to be treated that way, because they command such a large percentage of the total liquidity or the market or whatever, right? So I think it's just like we're in this growth stage, this weird, awkward stage where we're getting more people coming in, but then they run back out, and then they're gonna come in again when it feels safe, and then maybe they'll run back out some more, but less, and then eventually I think we'll see a decoupling over time as it matures, as more people understand what crypto is. But I don't think that happens overnight. I think that's going to be actually a prolonged process of decoupling.
Yeah, couple quick comments. Edgar saying, remember when ETH was at 500, BTC was at 3K? That was 2 years ago. Markets go up, down, and sideways. It is what it is. When electricity gets turned off is when we should start to panic. Digits is saying, I think there will always be people chasing those quick bads no matter what. Only the people currently in the space learning from this current market will change to making smarter decisions. So, guys, any last thoughts here on the bear market? Any tips or tricks or emotional support you want to give to the people out there? Go ahead and hit it.
Well, I would just say, on the sort of last note, to add to the thought of when we see this true decoupling, it's when you see more crypto native users and models and businesses, and then you have a whole crypto native economy that is less dependent and more decentralized. Because just like things like streaming took basically a full generation to take off like it did, because then you got cord cutters and then you got cord nevers, right? And when you get those cord nevers, they're like, why the heck would I ever pay $150 a month for a cable bill when I can pay $50 a month for multiple streaming services? And so that's what's going to happen is we're going to have a whole generational shift where people, our age and younger are growing up, learning about crypto, seeing it, and then understanding its value. And then there's going to be more for them to do. And so I would say it's going to be like a 15-year process from here, or maybe like a 10-year process for it to fully decouple.
We need more money in the market. There's $1 trillion in the crypto market right now. I mean, what Amazon, Elon, he owns 225 billion. So, and that's just what's listed as the richest guy in the world. Think of what these banks and what the old money's really doing. If they see a bunch of people getting into crypto and, they have 1/10 of that money available to them, you don't think they're looking at liquidation prices? And if they buy into Bitcoin and then they dump it and short it, everyone gets liquidated out, they buy back in at a cheaper one. I mean, this is big money manipulation that you just have to be aware of. And when there's a little bit more money in the market, it's not as easy to do. And we are at 3 trillion for a while. That's a little bit harder to manipulate. Now that it's down to 1, it's getting a lot easier to scare people out of their positions and wreck everyone else's bags when these, banks and, old money individuals that are manipulating this whole market, that's a lot easier for them to play these games and wreck all the rest of us. So know what you're getting into.
Yeah, I think that there's not much I can add to that conversation outside of it's going to take time, and it's going to take for us not to see the volatility. I think it is just a matter of adoption. I don't know anything about finances and accounting or freaking any of that shit, man. But I'm doing my research and I'm learning, and it does seem like the more adoption we get and the more of the global market, whatever it is, cap or whatever it, is in crypto versus fiat, the less we'll have to deal with these swings, because it was, more widely, and there'll be more use case, there'll be more of it in reserve, right? Versus being traded more consistently, so, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think in 20 years, the conversations will be real interesting.
Does
Yeah,
anyone think fiat's going to even exist in 20 years? Or is all these different nations going to be on CBDCs? Like maybe they're tanking this entire market. I'm still looking forward to Fun Uncle's conspiracy theory. Maybe they're tanking this whole market on purpose because you can't bring out a new financial system like a CBDC unless the current one's in the shitter. Maybe this is all planned, guys.
yeah,
And then watch everything blow up from there.
and that's the other part of this is like there's such a shitty macro environment to go on along with what we're trying to do here in NFTs. If the world wasn't on fire, if inflation wasn't as high as it is right now, then we probably would still be, trying to hit all-time highs here. So I think a lot of people, if you're not familiar with the Fed raising rates and how it affects the broader stock market and generally the economy, then you should kind of pay attention to that meeting here at the end of the week to see if they're going to raise rates, which again, most people in the crypto markets think they will, which means we might get a little bit more blood before we figure this all out. So it might be as easy as Fed lowering rates, we get a fucking bull market. Fed raising rates, we get a bear market. It might be that fucking simple when it comes to trying to time the bottom. So yeah, that's a great discussion. Appreciate everybody's insight there. I want to quickly hit STEPN. We do have a move to earn project. This is a quick look at their light paper. Essentially, what you can do here is actually exercise and earn tokens. And while that does sound kind of too good to be true, we did see the play to earn movement here in the last year. This is a quick run through of what you have to do to actually take part in this project here. So essentially, you're buying NFT shoes on this app that is both on Apple and Android. You essentially connect that with your GPS and within the app, and you can start earning a token called GST. You can then use that GST to upgrade to earn more, and then you can eventually swap that to Sol or USDC there, as you can see, swap to USDC. So this is on the Solana blockchain. I think that's another discussion we can have, but guys, I want to get your take. So you guys did a little bit of research before the episode here. What do you make of STEPN? Would you try it? And yeah, what do we think?
So we did a play test on GM Web 3. One of our community leaders, Shabazz, shout out Shabazz, he went in and tested it out for us. So the one thing that I have to call out here, I don't see it on the website, they don't seem to communicate it very clearly, is that you are limited how much you can earn each day and how much you can actually like play or move to earn. And so to me, that's the reason that I'm not interested, is because it's built on Ponzi-nomics, and it's very difficult to actually make money because they cap you at like 15 or 20 minutes a day or something like that. So it costs you a bunch of money to buy in, get the NFTs, and then it's incredibly difficult for you to actually make that money back or money off of that.
So I actually got an invite. My bad. I actually got an invite to this like a couple weeks ago, and it's very interesting because I started doing the research and I started looking and figuring out how does this work, like how do you maximize. And there's definitely like this whole play to like earn mechanic where it's like you get them to a specific level and you have a certain amount of shoes, right? To Gift's point, you're only allowed to work, you only earn for 10 minutes when you start with one shoe, and then I think you have to like get like multiple shoes to up your amount of time that you can work out, quote unquote, every day. I will say that for some people who like incentivization to create new habits, and money is that thing that talks to them, I do know some people who love it, right? Like I watched the videos. Obviously this thing changes as the token price, it fluctuates, right? But as of 2 weeks ago when I was watching the videos, it with the shoe that I ended up buying, which was like I think was like $600 for the shoe when you converted it and everything. It was gonna take me 28 consecutive days, 10 minutes a day to pay off the shoes, which a month worth of walking for 10 minutes a day, like to pay off the investment. That's not bad. If I'm like, if that continued to flow for the next year, I mean, it eventually does work out to be a decent amount. But my thing is still I personally think that play to anything to earn, all these mechanics are very limited in their lifespan. I don't think that they last very long, because like when people are done using them to make money, they're gonna like take all their money out and then move on to the next thing that they can use to make money, and it only works for so long, right? Before there's too many people who don't give a shit, and then all start to pull their liquidity, and now the token tanks, and then everyone else loses interest. Axie's dealing with it, right? Like and so yeah.
So we have a question here in the chat too. How much money does the NFT cost? How much does the sneaker cost, Ronan? I know there's like a varying amount, but do you know the range?
They vary, right? So like I think the lowest one when I was looking was right around like 400 or something like that, and I opted for like the 600 one because it was like I watched the video and it was like it was already a level 9, and because it was already a level 9, that meant that I was earning at a little faster pace. But it's interesting because like for me, like I really feel strongly that that's not like where NFTs will lie, like, broader case. I actually, I'm more of a fan of another app that most people haven't even heard of in NFT space, called Aglet. It's AGLET. And what Aglet does is it's just a collecting app. It's more like Pokemon Go for sneakerheads. And you earn sneakers, and dude, look, when you talk about like collectibles in a way that they make sense, like this is like the type of thing that I get excited about. I actually DM them and ask them if they want to come through NFT Live, and they say yeah. But like 3 weeks ago, they launched their very first NFT in the app, and it was like you paid for it with their in-app currency, and I think it was like it equated to something like $50 or something for an NFT, and then or I'm sorry, no, it was $200 for the NFT, but it included a physical shoe. It's the first time they've ever done, and so they're using this app, right, to create their own sneaker brand that's been virtual for the past 2 years since they launched. But they just launched it, or they're just getting ready to launch their first physical shoe, right? And it's attached to this NFT, and so like I'll get a physical shoe, and I've got the NFT that represents it and stuff. So to me, that's a cooler ecosystem because to me it's a longer, like it's a longer play. You're not like, it's not all about like walk this many amounts a day and earn these sneakers and do these things. It's just like collectible sneakers, and if you like them, like buy them with in-game currency. If not, like earn the currency by walking and opening these boxes along your daily walk. There's like 3 on my walk, right? Like I can open these boxes and they give me extra in-game currency. So it's interesting how they the different approaches. But
yeah, I've got some questions in the chat, and then Savage, I definitely want to get your take here on STEPN. Nick Sorvis is saying 3 shoes equals 20 minutes, 9 shoes equals 45 minutes daily earning time. Michael Kendrick saying, given the long time capture ROI, do you think it's still worth getting into STEPN? So, Savage, I want to get your take here on the app, and then we can continue the combo on whether, I agree with GIF's point that like, we saw with Axie Infinity, we've seen some games that are play to earn not be sustainable. It's a very, very thin layer of ice there where you can go the wrong way very, very quickly. So, Savage, let me get your take here on STEPN, and then we'll continue.
What scared me is it's on Solana. Like I have a huge bag of Solana. I love Solana, the token, but the fact that it's not fully launched yet makes it a little dangerous. I did like what Ronan said, how they're doing the physidigital with the other one, where you're actually going to get a physical piece, or like the shoe. I think that's going to blow up in the NFT market, like in this coming cycle or whatever. You're going to see a lot of NFT projects launch that are actually going to give you something with their NFT that you will get in real life. So those are the projects that I'm kind of looking out for, but on Ethereum.
Gotcha. Okay. God, I had one more point, but GIF, did you have anything here, the last bit on STEPN before we?
So the one part that I don't remember if my homie Shabazz figured out is if there's decay. So like in terms of the questions about should you get in, if there's a very sort of set return rate and that initial investment can continue to pay off for indefinitely or a long time, then it might definitely be worth it. Because on top of the physical gain, the sweat, you can continue to see those rewards stack. But if there's a decay in those rewards, if the shoes decay, if they stop working after a little while, like this is what happened with strong nodes, right? It's like I bought all these nodes and now they're disappearing, and the coin's also crap, and so there's no way for me to ever get my initial investment out. So that's what I'd look out for is there actually like a set, like can you indefinitely keep keep getting those returns, or do the shoes decay somehow? Are they somehow reducing the rate that you can get those returns? And I don't know the answer to that.
Gotcha. I'm going to pull up real quick the two tokens in this ecosystem
There's-
as well here. So we have GST, that is the inflation token that you earn. And then you also have the governance token. A lot of these play to earn projects have the same dual token system. So go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, and to like directly answer the point, and I guess this is kind of also to the question from Chad on the ROI. That's all going to be based on like the token, right? Like because do the shoes decay? Yeah, the shoes themselves decay, but like they decay to a point of like not being able to use them, and then but you can use the token to repair them. Right. So they try to create this ecosystem where it's like you're earning the token can be used to either cash out, or you can use it within their ecosystem to do things like, I think you can use it for leveling up. I think you use it for repairing shoes. I think you can use it for one other thing I was trying to look. You can update different statistics. There's like 4 statistics that you use in the app. Right. So they have like this whole ecosystem. And I think like, your ROI is not a set number. That number is directly associated with the token price, because you're going to earn the same amount of tokens every day based on how many shoes you currently own, right? So the math is kind of done in that way. I got a buddy. Yeah. He's been doing it for I think 2 or 3 months now. He says at this point it's literally paying his rent every month. But again, what time did he get in? What did he pay for those shoes? Did he buy it? Did he earn a bag before the price went up? Does he, the structure is 3 shoes is 10 minutes, 9 shoes is 20 minutes. And then whatever it was after that, or 3, 6, 9. So does he already own 9? You know what I mean? And if he owns 9, then that means he can get paid for 45 minutes worth of his time a day, which is giving him way more tokens than someone who only owns, up to 2 or 3 or whatever. So it's a lot of gamification, a lot of it. I will say that from what I understand, the token is holding pretty solid. It dipped pretty hard. But it's kind of been around the same point for the most part.
Yeah, and this is just a fundamental piece here. Sorry, Savage, that I want to point out with these tokens. The governance token is the one that not financial advice. You don't want to be buying the inflationary token that people are earning every day. That's going to be GST. As you can see, down 91%. That's because it's the one that's being sold as people earn it. Whereas the governance token is going to be GMT, and it's not going to have as big a pullback, although it looks like it's mirroring the market a little bit. But go ahead, Savage.
I do like that it's a mobile app, and I think that's going to be where these different play-to-earn games are going to blow up. If you're available in Apple and Android, you're getting most of the market because everyone's already got that. If someone has to download a specific app to get into there, it makes marketing a whole lot harder. It's pretty easy to say, hop on the Apple Store, buy our app, start earning money. I do like that. That's a winner model right there. I'm really looking at mobile games that are doing the play to earn, because I think they have a lot better chance of making it.
Awesome, man. So I want to have a lightning question real quick to all 3 of you guys. Lightning. Remember, don't spend too much time answering it. And then we're going to get to our last story because we're running over a little bit of time here. But what would you want to get paid to do the most? We've seen play to earn. We've seen move to earn, which I think, philosophically is pretty dope too. It's just getting people active. But yeah, what would you guys want to get paid to do? Blank to earn. What would you want to see?
Hold.
Because then I would actually get sleep.
There you go. Sleep. I like it. Hold to earn's like staking. I think that might exist.
Yeah, staking. Yeah, I actually really like the move to earn fitness and like encouraging positive behaviors. Like I really, really do like that. I just think it's a tough thing to create those economies and make them sustainable. And so, STEPN is obviously I think STEPN's a really cool model. I think it's an interesting case study, and hopefully they can continue to evolve. And to like Ronan's point about the other app, like how do they keep building that brand and that ecosystem? I'm definitely going to be watching closely. But yeah, I don't know. I want to see more things try and test these virtuous, cycles, these virtuous values, encouraging people to be better in their lives, help other people, plant trees, like, if you could reduce your carbon footprint and then get rewarded for that, or I don't know. I think all that stuff is like really positive for the world, and positive for our lives. Maybe like networking to earn, like building relationships to earn. Like, I don't know.
Love it. Love it. All right. The last story here, and we're going to get up out of here. Appreciate you guys tuning into NFT Live today, and being active in the chat. This is a big news for the gamers out there. Epic Game Store adds blockchain game Grit by Gala Games. So this is a shooter by Gala Games. That ecosystem has multiple different games that kind of work within that Gala universe. But Grit is getting played on Epic Game Store here relatively shortly. I don't know if I don't think it's necessarily released yet. This was an announcement about it getting released. They also came with a 10,000 NFT character drop that I have not seen the results for. But how big is this for gamers? How big is this for blockchain gamers? Is it just another kind of step up, or is this a huge piece of news? And what are your guys' thoughts here as Gala Games makes the move to Epic?
It's huge. It's
Huge.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, just real quick, like a couple of stats about Epic Game Store. It's like one of the biggest gaming outlets. There's 30 million DAUs, so 30 million daily active, over 30 million. It's like 31 million, and over $700 million spent on the Epic Game Store alone, just from PC users last year. The gaming market is a behemoth. It's massive. There's a bunch of very tech savvy, intelligent, young, gamers out there that have resources too, and can really understand what digital assets are. So it's like finding the right on-ramps to get gamers into the NFT and crypto space and understanding its value is definitely a big key to continuing to grow the space. And I think this is a potentially really big move. The challenge has been that gamers are, they have their own community, they have their own values, they want games that are good, and so they're very protective, and don't like anything that feels like it's just that's not like an actual real value for their community specifically, or a cool game. So I don't know. Hopefully this is actually a good experience for some of those people, and then they get more interested and intrigued in NFTs and crypto.
I think it's huge because a lot of these people that are in this ecosystem won't even know this is a crypto game. They're just going to buy the newest release because that's what the company's pushing, and that brings mass adoption.
What do you think,
Doesn't
Brody?
seem like it's being pitched as a crypto game.
Would you play this game?
So I just hope that it's good. The gameplay is good, because like that is the biggest issue that we have. And I'll be damned if I don't stop saying it. Like, we need a game that's just a game that like facilitates like ownership using the blockchain. That's it. That's what all gamers really are going to need. Like that, once they get that and they understand that, then we can go and deal with all the other shit. Right. But like, if it's just some small battle royale that like, somebody that, understood blockchain, went and bought up this studio, and it's like, all shitty assets and crappy coding, and it's not going to bring positive experience, then, I think it could totally backfire and set us back.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, right? I was just thinking that, because the gaming community is extremely vocal and can be very toxic when they don't like certain things. And so if it's a bad experience, then it can very quickly become a meme in the gaming community that all NFT blockchain games suck. And then it becomes even harder to convince a large contingent of gamers to try out and be crypto curious and all that. And then they just kind of become more insular and negative towards anything crypto and NFT gaming related. So it's high risk. It's a high risk.
If it goes to a meme, that means there's a lot of publicity around it, and no publicity is bad publicity, because that just means some people that are interested in making money but haven't gamed in a while might get into it, and they're just going to say, these losers sitting around gaming all day, I'm going to change that industry. I'm going to be making some money. So let's go meme it up.
Apparently, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, they got to really commit one way or the other. Either make an incredible gaming experience or just make it so bad that people play it for the meme, right?
Yeah, we got some good chat here that's happening. Prodigy saying Phantom Galaxies. That's a game that I've actually been in and played, and it's a good experience. So those are on the horizon here, Ronan. Don't you worry, man. We'll start getting some non like web browser based games that are just a crypto aspect put in. It looks like some people are making money from Sexton, so that's an easy one that we missed, man. Sex-to-Earn. So I don't know how you guys missed that. Savage, would you play that game?
We were talking about this a while ago. Yeah, I mean, hey, if it's $1 is $1, right? An ETH is an ETH. Let's go.
Yeah. But I do think on the gaming front, like Ronan's getting to like the real crux of it, which is just like the streaming wars, just like so many other, like even with Soul, you know, you've seen it start to get more once it gets some legit hits or good projects and content and communities on there. All it's going to take to get a massive influx of interest from the gaming community is to have one really, really solid hit game. When we get that one amazing game that's like on the blockchain that has a really cool utility that people can like take their characters or their skins and move them into a different game, or buy and sell them on different, like whatever it is, all it takes is one really, really hit game to do it, and that'll open the floodgates for a lot of people.
Gif, you're dodging the question. Would you play Sexton?
Yeah, man, of course. I mean, I wouldn't probably, advertise it like publicly, but like every time that I'm not on air with you guys, I'd be over there, doing my thing.
Making money.
Kansas is asking a good question. This is a very important question. How would they even prove that? What are the physics behind proving that is going on? I mean,
you're gonna have to. You gotta strap your iPhone to your waist.
Yeah, you just gotta have the
thrust in.
What happens if you don't have any motion? What if there's no motion in the ocean?
That doesn't count.
Guess you're not earning.
Man, that's a different conversation.
You better have a nice car or something else, All
right, we are firmly off the rails here, and we will be ending NFT Live on that note. So thank you so much for the Sexton points. But guys, to your pieces there as well, the gaming points there. That's I think I agree with you guys essentially, man. So I think that we will start to see better games, and I'm fully prepared for it. So guys, thank you so much. I'll let Ronan take us out. GIF, Savage, you guys were awesome. This is a great episode, another great one, man, in the books.
Yeah, thank you to our co-host, and we appreciate everybody who's hanging out. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Other than that, that's our vibe, our tribe. Catch you next week.
Peace.